Today, we're taking a look behind the scenes of the #1 affiliate online.
I was doing like 60K in retainers.
If I'm not mistaken, your total GMB, it's over 12 million?
Yeah, over 12 million.
Oh my God.
Going from being just a dishwasher to one of the biggest earning affiliates on TikTok, he's cracked the code to financial freedom.
It's just taking that extra time to learn and be better at it. That's what makes the great creator versus the good creator, is they're just missing one or two ingredients in that witch's brew that's not hitting, and they're stirring it and wondering why, but they're just missing a couple ingredients and they're not realizing that.
Today, I decided to sit down with him to learn exactly what goes on behind the scenes, from how he finds his winning products, how he turns them into massive paydays, to even cracking down the psychological tricks that he uses to generate thousands of sales every single day. Welcome, Brandon Phillips.
Welcome back to the 7-Figure Affiliate Podcast. Guys, I'm so excited today. My name is Sebastian Beneker. I'm the owner of 7-Figure Affiliate, where we help affiliates start and scale with TikTok Shop. And today I've got an absolute killer, one of, if not the top affiliate in the entire world, Brandon Phillips. How are you feeling, my man?
What's good, man? Feeling good. Thanks for having me. I'm excited to be here and excited to share some knowledge.
Of course, man. Dude, I'm so stoked to have you in here, man, because I've seen your come up like for so long, I feel like, and especially as of recently, you've been crushing with TikTok Shop, man. I guess I just want to start with, what is your background? How did you even get into TikTok Shop affiliate in the first place?
Yeah, dude. So my journey was a little weird. I know you have a bigger following too. So like you were posting content before TikTok Shop was a thing.
Comedy, yeah.
Same with me. So like I was posting comedy trends. I came up with like a series called Hide and Seek, where I would like kind of Where's Waldo and hide myself in like these pictures with a bunch of people. Anyways, that's what ended up growing my following. So I was already used to making content, but I came across, as you know, TikTok is crazy with their violations and stuff. I came across like a permanent ban warning, and this was in 2021, I think. And so I left TikTok. I was like, I just decided, I was like, instead of risking and losing my account, I'm just gonna leave. And I heard Instagram was really paying people a lot at that time.
Yeah.
So I went to go scale Instagram. That was crazy. Once I figured out the algorithm, did 1 billion views in 6 months, and then Instagram took the money away. And it was like, whoa, like I was making like 7 to 9K a month, which at that time I was still working full time, was incredible money to me.
What were you doing full time?
So I was an HVAC technician.
Okay, cool.
But I've had many jobs. I bounced around from commercial roofing, pallet repair, order selector. I was a dishwasher, a prep cook, you name it. I've done everything under the sun. But at that time I was an HVAC tech, and I said, what am I going to do with social media? I thought this was like growing, and I thought it was going to be great. Yeah. So I was like, let me go back to TikTok and see what is up, see if that permanent ban warning's gone. So when I got back to TikTok, I had learned the platform was different. It was like 1 minute plus content to get paid now. It was, and it was like, whoa, what do I do? I'm used to 15-second little funny skits. What I started to do was a program called TTCC. I'm not sure if you've heard of that. It's essentially UGC. It's like for phone games or phone weather apps and stuff like that. I started making content for that. That's where I really started to learn editing. Then I came across a video of somebody doing the shotgun Kraken. I don't know if you've ever heard of that one.
Yeah, that was like one of the first TikTok Shop products, right?
Yes. And back then I used to drink and stuff. So I was like, that looks like that's super cool.
Yeah.
I didn't start like really hitting it in my brain, like what it was, until I saw the Wise cameras. I saw somebody promoting a Wise camera, and I was like, wait a second. It like clicked. It was like a light bulb. I was like, I could make content about products and make that 1 minute long, and then I could get paid for that. Yeah. I wasn't thinking about affiliate commissions.
Wow.
I was just thinking about what I could do for 1 minute to get paid.
Yeah, yeah.
And so I got the Wise camera in. I made an unboxing video. It was just like so corny back then and terrible when you look back on those videos, but that's really where it all started. And I started in tech. I thought that's where I wanted to be in. And once the commission started rolling in, I slowly just started analyzing what products were trending, and slowly kind of moved into personal care and more health and wellness.
Gotcha. So you started like with the whole content thing, kind of like I did, and then you posted videos because you were in the creator monetization program, right? Where it's like they pay you for over a minute videos. And then, you started getting into shop. And so like, when did you feel like you really had something thing with shop? Like, was it a slow burn for you, or do you feel like you just had 1 month where it just completely took off?
No. So I guess my first month that really took off was the first month I left my job. So I started in September of 2023, Q4 time. I wish I was more prepared and more knowledgeable at that time, but that first month was 3,000 in commissions. And like I said, I was coming from 7 to 9 on Instagram. So I was like, oh, okay.
So it's still like a little hit.
Yeah. And then the second month was like 15. And I was like, wait a minute.
Yeah. Now we're working with something.
This might be something. And I was still doing TTCC at the time as well, doing like 9K a month there. So I was like, this could be something crazy. The very next month was 27K. And then the next month after that was like 28.
Yeah.
And I was like, I have to quit my job. There's no way.
Yeah.
So I quit my job. That next month was 50K on the dot commissions. And I was like, this is real. This is insane. And I started going crazy trying to figure out how to do business. I've never seen money like this in my life.
Of course.
So I was like, what do I do with the money? You know, I started my LLC, S Corp, everything like that. And then from there, that whole year, 2024 was amazing. Blessings. Like every month was like 50K, 60K. 70K.
That's
the highest
insane.
month I had that year was 114K in commissions.
Yeah.
It was just a wild ride, man.
Dude, that is amazing, man. It definitely seems like, dude, you deserve that. Like, especially with, you know, your come up talking about like you tried all different types of jobs.
Yeah.
And this is what you stumbled upon, man. If you don't mind sharing, like, what has been your highest month with TikTok Shop and what were you primarily selling that month?
Yeah. My highest month was like 1.2 million GMV.
Dude.
Wild. And what I was selling was a ton of Korean skincare and Christmas bags from QVC.
Oh, so that was kind of recent, right? Like in December.
Recent. Yeah, that was my highest month ever.
Because I remember you had a ton of those videos popping out for like my Korean friend.
Oh my
So it was
gosh.
that month.
Yeah. So, well, it was a little bit after that. So that one started to take off. That one did really well. And then it was the next month that the QVC bags took off at the same time. So both of those hitting at the same time, like one of them was like 75 million views. The other one was 38 million views.
Yeah.
Both of those hitting at the same time was just incredible. And then unfortunately, the QVC, as we know, QVC doesn't restock their stock.
Yeah.
So they sold out, which was terrible because if they would have kept going, that month would have been 3 million GMV in 1 month, like guaranteed. Like the conversion was just insane. So unfortunately, they sold out. So that kind of stumped me right there, like halfway through the month. And I stopped at 1.2.
Yeah, but still hit a crazy month, dude. That's insane.
That's a wild month.
Yeah.
That is not my typical month at all.
I think my highest was like 800K and then profit was like 165.
Fire.
So yeah, it's good. But if I'm not mistaken, your total GMB, it's over 12 million.
Yeah.
Okay. Oh my God. And are you comfortable sharing like what like that equals like commissions wise, profit wise?
A couple $1 million.
Yeah. That's fucking crazy, dude.
Yeah.
Yeah, because even if it's just like conservative, like 10% of that, that's like a couple million. That's crazy, man. Yeah, I feel like with these podcasts, like we always talk a lot about like background and all that cool stuff, but I feel like we genuinely have like one of the best affiliates in the world. So I feel like people that are watching this, they really want to know like the technique, the strategy. So I want to ask you, Brandon, like how do you go about choosing your products? And when you do have a product, how do you go about promoting it? Like what are the things you think of? How do you get your inspiration? I want to hear a little bit about your strategy with everything.
Yeah. So I think like 90% of how I find products is just on my For You page. And I've always done that. Like my strategy from the beginning was getting a few viral products or finding products that were trending on my For You page and just hitting those over and over and over again. And then I started to look at other people's showcases. I had like, at this point, I had a ton of sales and I was looking at my showcase and I had like 200 products. I'd look at other people's showcases. I don't want to name any names, but they'd have like 1,000 products. And I was like, wait, what? They're promoting all of these different products. That's crazy. Like I'm only at 200. That's when I really started to branch out a little bit more and find more viral products. But I would say the strategy, honestly, is just my For You page. I just scroll through and I do a little research. If I see something that I think is interesting, I'll request a sample. If I think that something's not interesting, but I see it a few times, I'm like, okay, it's getting pushed heavily.
Yeah.
You know, and this is before GMB Max was a thing. But even now, like I just scroll my For You page. I find what's hitting. I see if something's getting a massive GMV push, like diffusers and stuff. You know, I can see when something's hitting and why I'm seeing it. There's got to be a reason, right? Especially organic. Like if I'm organically seeing this constantly,
it's not even like a sponsored post.
The algorithm's hitting it. Like it just, you have to know that and you have to act early. You have to get in quick. A lot of times also I'll see products where the sample's not even available, but in my mind, I'm like, I'm just going to buy it.
Yeah.
Because if I'm seeing it that much, like it's going to be worth that investment.
Yeah.
The QVC Christmas bags was the best investment I ever did. I bought those.
Yeah.
Best investment. 2 years in a row. They hit hundreds of thousands of dollars from silly little Christmas
Yeah.
bags.
Oh, and they're going to hit again like every Christmas. 100%.
This year it's going to be massively saturated though, because 2 years in a row it's hit me. Everybody's going to be on them.
And now they know how much you printed with them. But
exactly.
Dude, I love that you brought that up, because I know a lot of people, they're kind of like, oh, like I can't get a free sample. It's, you know, I'm not going to order. But it's like, dude, you have to realize that TikTok Shop Affiliate is one of the only businesses where you keep so much in profit. Like, you don't have to buy inventory besides like the actual product. You don't have a team. You don't have to ship out orders. It's literally like one of the most profitable business models. So it's like, why would you not invest into yourself and get these products? It's also way faster if you just like go in store or like order on Amazon instead of waiting for the sample. But dude, what's funny about that, or like what I find interesting in terms of like your product selection strategy, is I had a call with Ethan Hartzell. I'm sure you know him. He's like a killer just like yourself. I think he's done like 12 million GMV as well. And he told me he does the exact same thing. Yeah. Like he doesn't use Callow. He doesn't use the daily virals. He's like, dude, I just scroll on TikTok. I have certain creators that I like to look at. And I'm like, hey, if they're pushing this, I'm going to grab the product. So it's really interesting that like all the top affiliates, they're kind of doing that same strategy. Now, how do you actually come up with your ideas? Like, do you have marketing principles that you kind of know? It's like, okay, I understand like the psychology of why people buy. Do you take inspiration from other people? Like, how do you actually come up with your video ideas?
For sure. So when I go to request a sample, for example, I'll save the videos that I seen that I requested the sample from, because there was a reason it was on my For You page, right? There was a reason that video hit. So what I'll do is I'll go back and I'll draw inspiration. I'll say, what was it about their video that hit? Okay, perfect. Maybe they attacked this pain point. Maybe they did this. Maybe they gave some great product information, whatever the case is. And I'll take that in, and then I'll kind of just formulate my own plan for how my video is going to go. And maybe I'll attack the same pain point. Maybe I'll do a little bit of a different hook with a style where I add something in that might add, a little more flavor that I might think will hit a little differently. Of course, I know sales psychology and marketing. I've been doing this for long enough to have an idea where I can pick up a cup and sell it to you right then and there.
You can sell anything.
Yeah, and just give you an idea of what the cup is. Just give me a tiny little product details and we're going to go. I can give you a script just out my mind. But for sure, I definitely draw inspiration from other people, because what's working is what's working. That's for a reason, right? So you have to just kind of emulate that. Of course, in your own style, don't just point blank, rob people of their stuff, whatever. I don't really care. I know some people get offended by it, but like I tell people all the time, copy me word for word if you have to. If it's blowing up and if it's working, do it, man. I have no problems with that. When
it comes to like when you're actually testing your products, how do you decide which ones to double down on? How do you decide like which ones you should like kill? Like basically, how do you decide when to pivot from a product?
Yeah, good question. I think that you got to give each product a little bit, right? You can't just give it one video. There's no way that your chances of going viral are so slim. So I tend to try to give each product just a couple videos. And if I still see that those videos are taking off, or that product is taking off and trending, what I'll do is I'll just give it some more. Right? It's not, I typically give each product maybe 1 to 2, 3 videos, and I'll be done. If I notice that product is like still trending at an up peak, then I'll go revisit it and I'll maybe attack it from a different angle, whatever the case is. But I don't really have like a stopping point, I guess you could say. I'm on a lot of retainers as well. Those fill up my calendar pretty quick and fill up my, my posting schedule. So a lot of those products I just attack over and over again. And the great thing about the retainers is that I'm giving them such a high chance to succeed that a lot of them do. It's not just a paid retainer. I'm also getting a ton of commissions from those products selling on my page.
It's like you're double dipping.
Yeah, because I'm hitting 10, 20 videos on these products and it's just, taking off. So I don't really give them a certain number, but it's just, I would say 1 to 3. And then if it didn't succeed, I'll push it to the side. I'll save it in inventory and then maybe revisit it later if it ends up taking off again.
Really good to know. And I remembered what I was going to say. I was going to say one thing that I really like about your content is that you're so diverse with like the things that you promote and also like the way you go about it. Like when I watch a lot of top creators, usually they're hitting like the very general angle, if you know what I mean, like just the ad, the GMB Max style, you know exactly what I'm talking about. But when I look at your content, sometimes you do that like with a sentiment diffuser or something, but sometimes you hit deep into like the pain points, which I really love and appreciate about your content. So like, what are your thoughts about now that GMB Max is in play? How do you think that has shifted your content?
Yeah. So, man, back at the start, it was great. Like organic traffic was so heavy. The algorithm just favored everything.
You could promote anything, man.
It was the greatest. But now with GMB Max being in play and everybody kind of targeting that, I think it's definitely shifted my content to be more exclusive with brands that not a lot of people are targeting. So for example, everybody's targeting Shark and Ninja, QVC, all the big players, right? But what I'm doing is I'm targeting some of the smaller brands that have massive GMV push that not a lot of people are like aware of at the moment, right?
Oh.
So, and I think it helps being in the health and wellness space a lot too, because people are afraid to be promoting supplements or health and wellness, and targeting those spaces. I think you can find some really smaller brands with massive GMV push, or maybe they're not a smaller brand, but they're newer to TikTok Shop and they just have massive spend that nobody knows about. So even like brands I was hitting for like intake breathing, massive GMB Max spend.
I saw you push out the ultra pouches as well, right?
Ultra pouches, I did. That was a retainer, but yes,
That's a sleeper,
I
I
did push
think.
those two, and those did really well for me as well. So
Yeah.
on top of the retainer, they also sold pretty well. You know, but I think I'm still gonna do obviously Shark and Ninja QVC. Like I'm loyal to those guys, but I think the key with GMB Max and how it affects my strategy is finding those smaller brands that have massive GMV push that don't have a lot of creators. Because if you're creating the solid content for them, all the GMV Max spend's going to you.
Yeah, dude. And this is exactly why I wanted you to have you on, bro, because I feel like I would have never realized that. And everybody that's watching this is going to take that insight. And so I guess from that, like my question to you is, how do you actually go about finding those brands? Is there any like research tool that you're using? Like, are you just in cahoots with these brands? Like, how do you actually find them?
Honestly, a lot of it has been either luck or through agencies. So I have I'm not linked to any specific agency. I mean, I am currently, but it's not because of that I'm finding any sort of deals. I work with a span of agencies constantly, and they just reach out and they're like, hey, we got this brand with, you know, here's about this brand. And because I'm doing so many retainers, I often stumble upon these brands that I'm like, this is a gold mine. Like, nobody else knows about this yet. And if it's not agencies, then I typically just find it through either connections with emails, friends, just finding out on my For You page even, where I'm like, okay, that's small. It hasn't sold that much yet, but I can see the GMV Max spend is crazy. And I guess that's my strategy.
Yeah, that's so huge, man. Because, I feel like what a lot of people think is the wave is like obviously like Shark, Ninja, QVC. I mean, obviously that can make you a ton of money, but it's really cool to hear like your perspective on it. Like, you know, you find these sleeper brands that they have GMV Max ad spend, but they don't necessarily have as many creators or videos. And if you're able to get in, make a crazy good video, a high converting video, then all that spend is going to go to you, you know, so you're going to start printing. So I love that. I'm definitely going to take advantage of that. So what does your scaling process look like? Like when you do find a product, because I know, you know, like when you make a video and you're like, oh my God, this is banging. Like, how do you go about just scaling that even more to the moon?
Yeah. So I have multiple accounts, of course. I think a ton of affiliates have multiple accounts nowadays, but that was my strategy for scaling, period. Cause I was like, well, violation defense against the main account. I'm going to have backup accounts that are printing as well. But yeah, that's my strategy. I just take the product and I analyze what videos are hitting at the moment. I'm like, dude, this video is banging. And I just recreate that. Maybe I'll recreate it in a different style. Maybe the hook will change slightly. Maybe, you know, or I'll just completely just do the video over and over and over and over again in the same exact style. But I think that's really the key. When something is hitting, you have to just target that over and over and over again. For example, with the Korean friend with the skincare, what happened was everybody started doing that. My Korean friend, and everybody was blowing up with it. And I was so excited. I was like, dude, look at everybody just crushing it. And then you have even guys like Roman, who was like Roman's Finds. He was like hitting a different angle. He was one of the first that I seen where he was like to this fucking Korean guy on my For You page. And he put a picture of me. And I was like, dude, that's so creative. That's so funny. Like, it's funny to see the different styles. But once, you know, everybody was picking up on that, I think everybody did the right thing. You're supposed to do that. You're supposed to just kind of copy that format or find your own way like Roman did and hit that different style on the same kind of pain point of the Korean part of it. So as far as my strategy goes, I just double, triple down on it.
I love that.
In any way that I possibly can.
Yeah, dude, I love that. I fully agree with that. That's like the exact same thing, you know, that I have when it comes to scaling, is like repeating the same concept. Like you milk it dry. A lot of people like, they think that like, oh, like I don't want to spam the algorithm, or I don't want to like keep doing it. But it's like, if it's making you money, like what the fuck do you mean? Like
those QVC bags, I posted over this year, like 150 videos, the same exact style.
Yeah.
Yes, the hook changed a little bit, or I did this differently, whatever the case, but I did 150 videos of the same exact bags, kind of the same style, because one of them hit and it was likely that another one was going to hit in that
Exactly.
same exact format.
If you guys take anything from this, just double down. It's okay to make the same video over and over, like switch it up a little, but like that's literally one of the best ways to scale. So I love that, man. And what would you say is a mistake maybe that you made for a very long time that you would tell other people to avoid?
Ooh, that's a good question. I think a mistake that I've made. Here's an easy one. I'll say like messing up with my editing, should I say, or being sloppy with editing and not really taking your time, because editing really matters. If you look at it and I see it to this day, I see it on my For You page all the time. Really sloppy cuts, really sloppy editing. Yes, some of those videos may go out and may hit the algorithm, may go viral, but at the end of the day, editing properly matters, because if you edit and those cuts are really clean, you're gonna have a faster paced video. Your video is gonna seem like it's just rolling along, like every clip is just into the next one, and it's just, whoa, all of a sudden the viewer's like, I'm in my cart. Why am I in my cart right now? Yeah. And so I think that mistake I made very early on was not taking editing as serious, and now editing is super serious to me. Like everything has to be super on point. Like I have to extract the audio and run it into the next clip a little bit. That way the pace like picks up, and it makes the viewer subconsciously not even know what's going on, and then all of a sudden, like I said, they're in the cart. They're like, whoa, that video was quick, and it was a great product. Now I'm purchasing it. So.
Yeah, and that's definitely one thing that I see with a lot of like beginner creators. You see like the dead space at the beginning of their clips, at the end of their clips, and even if it's like 0.1 or 0.2 seconds, they think it doesn't make that much of a difference. I promise makes a huge difference. Like even if you're not shaving as much time, like when you cut it all up, it's just the fact that like when you do cut it super tightly, it just makes the video so much more engaging and also so much easier for the viewer to watch. And I feel like that's one of the most important things. Like you want your content as digestible as possible. Like obviously you want it to convert, but you want it to just be easy for the viewer to watch.
I mean, nowadays there's a lot of content out there.
Exactly.
Everybody wants to be a TikTok shop affiliate, right?
Yeah.
It's the dream job. And so there's a ton of content out there. How are you going to make yours stand out? Is it by
100%.
slacking on your editing? Absolutely not. It's by taking this serious, getting your editing down, and taking that extra 5 minutes to hit those extra little milliseconds. That's all it takes.
And you're also like not even competing with just other affiliates. You're competing with every piece of content out there, like Mr. Beast, Logan Paul,
Exactly.
like the streamers, you got collab nowadays. So you're competing with so many other people. So it's like one easy way to separate yourself is just by giving that extra attention, that extra detail into your content. And I really think that that's one of the best things that you can do.
Yeah, and I think a lot of people think that when we talk about high quality content, they think, oh, I got to get a camera, and I got no, you
Not
don't.
at all.
You just have to have your phone. Like people ask me this question a lot. How do you film? Is it the back camera? What are you doing? I'll tell you the sauce. I film with the front camera, 4K 60, and I export 1080 60 in CapCut afterwards. But it's just as simple as that. I set up my phone and I film and edit it in CapCut. Like it's not a rocket science thing. It's just taking that extra time to learn and be better at it that most people aren't giving.
And that's what separates you, man. I saw Tim actually ask this to Lush, and I want to ask you, man. You probably know what's coming, but who is your Mount Rushmore when it comes to TikTok shop affiliates?
Oh, man. I gave this a lot of thought after that video came out, and me and Tim actually talked about this in China.
Because you knew someone was going to ask you, right?
I mean, my list is pretty similar. I'm not going to lie. I would have to say, so if we're talking Mount Rushmore, obviously Matt Kalla and Ali have to be up there. Top dogs in the space.
Ali Breen, right?
Yeah, for sure. As far as 3 and 4 go, like I have to put Ty up there because he's just crushing.
For so long too.
Yeah, and then Lush's pick of Bestie Brit was super solid, man. So like I really agree with his list, and I'm not gonna lie, I think that would be my Mount Rushmore right now.
That's awesome, dude. I love that, man. Yeah, so like pretty similar. I feel like a lot of the top affiliates have like a similar Mount Rushmore. I think for me, I don't know who I'd put up there, man. I feel like, dude, it's a hard question now that it's like directed back to me. I think for sure I'd say Matt as well. Obviously his GMB is insane. He's been doing it like since it literally came out, since the conception of TikTok shop. So I'd put Matt Kalla up there. I would put Ali Breen as well.
For sure. She has to be up there.
Yeah. And dude, it's hard because I want to put like Lush. I want to put deals with Ty. Yeah, I think I have to put Lush up there, bro. Like,
he's a killer, dude.
Yeah, like even if his GMB isn't as like insane, and it's still really insane. Like it's just the quality of his content.
Oh,
like
incredible.
He's just such a good creator, bro.
Incredible.
He's such a good creator. I love watching his videos. They're very entertaining. And last one, dude, I don't know, man. I'm trying to think as well, like not even in GMB maybe perspective, but just people who have like inspired me on my journey.
That was one of the things that we were talking about. I don't mean to interrupt you on your last.
No, you're
pick,
good. You're good.
But when we were in China, we were discussing it. Like, what is your personal Mount Rushmore, and then versus like what is the actual Mount? Like the Mount Rushmore can't be. They didn't put those heads up there because that was their personal experience. They put those heads up there because those were the goats, right? That we have to recognize that everybody sees. Like, okay, and so we had that discussion. We had 2 Mount Rushmore picks. The ones that like nobody can argue, nobody can debate. Those heads have to be up there. And then the heads of our personal Mount Rushmore, the ones that impacted our content. And
I
stuff
love
like that. So we did 2 in China.
Yeah.
So the list that I gave you was the one that like you can't argue it, you can't debate it. And then I definitely have a personal Mount Rushmore as well.
Yeah.
So.
Dude, I think the last one for me would have to be honestly Emily May, bro. Like she started
killer.
around the same time as me, dude. And like her personality, like the tips that she gives out, she's always like, she has this contagious, bubbly personality. My girlfriend loves her. And I would just put Emily May up there.
That's a solid pick, dude.
Yeah.
She's super awesome.
She's dope. So yeah, that's my Mount Rushmore, man. I want to talk about like, because obviously you've hit some insane numbers with TikTok Shop. I know that you're a workhorse, so obviously you're spending like probably like what 8-10 hour days with TikTok Shop. But like, what are some of the things that TikTok Shop has allowed you to do? Because man, I feel like that's really what gets people inspired, and it makes them realize like this can actually change your life in so many ways.
Yeah, I think the biggest thing is I just bought a house, which is
I saw that, dude.
Crazy.
Major
so,
congratulations.
Thank you, man. Thank you. And
Seattle,
so,
right?
Yeah. And so, that was the biggest point where like, because when you see it in money form, it doesn't feel real yet until you put it into something tangible.
Yes.
And you put it in, and like I'm walking around my house and I'm like, this is mine. Oh my gosh.
From
like
videos I
this
made.
is crazy.
Yeah.
I did buy a truck, not last year, but the year before. And then I would just say like more free time with my family, man. And that's like one of the most valuable things to me, being able to travel and do things that I've never done before. Like I said, I came from just working a ton of different 9-to-5s. Like I never thought that even when I was doing TikTok back in 2020, 2019, I never thought that like content creation would be a full-time job. I knew people were doing it, but I was like, how do I get to that level? Like I had 900,000 followers and I was making like $300 a month.
Dude,
I was
people think followers equals money.
No, it does not.
It doesn't.
I was like, how are these guys getting brand deals and doing, like, I don't understand this. I'm like watching people get 40K a month and I'm like, what?
And they had way less followers, like 20K
way
followers
less
or something.
followers. And I'm like, whoa, this is crazy. I don't understand how people are doing this. I thought it was a side gig. I never thought that it would be a full-time income. And so really being able to travel to all these TikTok events, all these opportunities that I'm able to do. I've spoke at like 6 events now. I've won like 6 awards now. Like I've done so many different things with TikTok Shop that I never thought was possible. Even right now, I'm here in San Francisco going to the Super Bowl in a couple of days. Like that is crazy to me that I did that off of silly little videos on my phone. Like wild.
That's amazing, man. And I love the way that you put that because like, sometimes like the money will enter your bank account. Like when I was first making money with TikTok Shop, I was like, okay, this is cool, but like it doesn't feel real. But then like you buy your first like materialistic purchase, like maybe, when I bought my car, or like I also bought my house in South Carolina.
Yeah.
I think that's definitely one of my proudest feelings. Like, dude, like I bought a house and I'm like in my 20s.
Yeah.
Like not to sound like flexing or like arrogant, but it's like most people don't buy their first home till like 38 or whatever the age is, right?
When we look at like the world and the state of the world right now, buying a house in your 20s sounds crazy to 99% of the population. So we're definitely in the 1% of what we've been able to do, especially with our income and everything else. So no, don't shoot yourself short. That's an incredible feat for sure.
And it's, genuinely one of the coolest things that TikTok Shop can do for you. And I feel like sometimes people may get caught up like when they see like your insane numbers, like, oh, I could never hit like 100K month, like, or 200K month, like Brandon. But sometimes it's like, dude, an extra 3K or 5K or 8K a month, like that's life changing. You add that up over the course of a year, that's an extra $30, $60, $80,000 a year. You're telling me that's not going to change your life, man?
So for example, for people who out there who are wondering, on my third account, I only post maybe once a day. And that's generating 3,000 to 4,000 a month.
Insane.
Once a day, one post per day for an extra couple grand. Like it's not that hard as long as you're and there's still great videos. That's the thing about it. You have to put in the good effort and the good videos and put that out into the algorithm. I'm not saying you don't have to post 80 times a day like some people are, but if you're giving really good content, like a couple extra grand a month, that's incredible money, especially if you're still working a full-time gig. And for anybody out there who doesn't think that my numbers are possible, or Matt's or Lush's or Ty's or anybody else's numbers are possible, they're definitely still possible in this day and age. There's still creators who are coming out right now who are breaking out and just absolutely crushing it. Like look at Susan Luckhart. Like she came out not even that long ago onto the TikTok shop scene and she's been murdering it, right? So it's still possible for people to start later on and still have great success with it.
And I love that you said that, bro, because actually I think TikTok shop is making the most amount of money for creators that I've ever seen. You know, back then, I think the craziest month I ever saw was like probably mine. Like it was 165K in profit. And then I started to see like months later and then a year later. And then now, I believe it was, her name's, is it Kayla or Kaylee? She had like a $400,000 profit month.
Kayla.
Yeah, Kayla with the Dr. Malaxian. I was like, oh my God, like this is still very real. And then obviously when I started seeing your numbers and Lushes and deals with Ty, I'm like, dude, it is more profitable than ever. So when people say like, oh, is it too saturated? Is it too late to get in? I'm like, no, you're coming in at the perfect time.
Perfect timing. And it's all about like finding, like Kayla, for example, finding that product. Like Dr. Malaxian was already out. I had already kind of seen it a bit too, but then she just hit it in that angle that just like, it was just smacking for $1.8 million freaking last 30 days or whatever it was. Just absolutely insane. When I saw those numbers, I was like, dude, you're a killer. Let's go. And then luckily I got into skincare like right after that too. And that exploded. But like, man, just killer. I gotta say, it's not oversaturated. You just have to kind of stand out and find what's gonna work for you. And it might not be right away. It might not be forever either. You might just have a couple viral things, but it's like a lottery ticket. Like imagine you posted for 364 days and you made $0 every single one of those days. But on the 365th day, you had a Kayla day and you hit a $400,000. You know what I'm saying? Like imagine that happened to you. And all it takes is that one day, that 1 month, that 1 week, that one video. So it's definitely possible.
Yeah, that's what I talked about with Kayla on a podcast as well. We were talking about how, you know, it can be like just 1 or 2 months that change everything. Cause sometimes like TikTok shop isn't like extremely consistent, but like if you've been putting in the work, sometimes you have that one breakthrough month and you make multiple 6 figures profit in like 1 or 2 months. And so that can change your entire year round.
100%.
So I think that's so important to keep in mind, like just keep going. Now, one thing I do want to touch on as well, man, is I feel like there's a lot of good creators that are just like good. And then there's great creators like yourself, you know? So like when we're talking about good creators, maybe they're like 5, 10K months, maybe they've hit some like 20, 30K months. And you have the great creators that have hit like the insane months, the 6-figure profit months, 7-figure GMB months. What do you think is the main separator? Is it just like the mentality, the work ethic? Is it a few things? What would you say?
Yeah, I think it's a combination of everything, man. I think it's a combination of like overthinking things a lot, trying too hard to emulate others. I think it's a mix of maybe the editing's not there all the way. And then also it's the sales psychology and the tone of the tonality of your videos and the structure, and you're not doing the voice inflection properly. I think it's just a mixture of a ton of things where you have to stir in this witch's pot and get everything right. And that's what makes the great creator versus the good creator, is they're just missing 1 or 2 ingredients in that witch's brew that's not hitting, and they're stirring it and wondering why, but they're just missing a couple ingredients and they're not realizing that.
Yeah. And how old are you, by the way?
I'm 32. I just turned 32 a couple days ago.
What the fuck?
Yeah.
You're in your 30s, dude?
I'm 32 years old.
Bro, yeah. It's good that you promote skincare because, yeah, I literally thought you were like 27, 28.
No, 32.
That's insane, 32. And you have kids as well?
I do, yeah.
It's awesome, man. So, like, if you don't mind me asking, how is that, like, I guess made you feel like as a father now that you're able to, I guess just, provide so much more? That's one thing as well that I think I love about TikTok shop, when I hear stories of people saying like, yeah, it changed not just my life, but my family's life.
Oh, 100%. Like I love being able to provide for my daughter and just give her, obviously I don't want to spoil her and give her a silver spoon, but she's already was spoiled before TikTok shop, right? No, I think everybody in the family obviously knows. And it's been a crazy life-changing ride. You know, I was able to pay off my mom's debt. The first thing I did was pay off my debt. Then I paid off my mom's, my sister's, bought my grandparents a brand new car, you know, things like
That's
that.
amazing.
Just took care of the family first. And then I started making steps towards, you know, taking care of what I need and my needs and stuff. And so of course my kiddos were always taken care of, but yeah, I think that it's definitely changed a lot. As far as financial stuff goes, that doesn't really matter a lot to us as a family. We really care about time. Yeah. So that was the biggest thing. It was able to give me my time back. My kids are out for school in the summertime, and just being able to spend that and actually have the free time to just go to the lake, go camping, go whatever, any experience we want to do. Being able to have the financial freedom to do that was the number one thing that TikTok's ever given me.
I think that's the biggest like takeaway, just like the freedom that this gives you, you know, not having to clock in, or like if you're ever going to take your family on vacation, you don't have to ask like your boss, hey, can I take this week off?
Yeah.
You know, like you have that freedom. And I think that's so awesome, man. And I definitely think like that's a reason why you're so successful, man, because like you took care of the family. It seems like you're very humble, and, you know, you always put your family first, beside like before yourself. And that's why you keep seeing success, man. So that's just really cool to see, man.
Yeah,
Honestly.
100%, man. 100%.
Yeah. I did actually want to talk about as well when it comes to like your actual work day. Are you working every single day? How many hours are you working? And like, do you film in the mornings, middle of the day, at night? Like, what does your actual work schedule look like?
So as most of people know, if they've seen my content, I used to have an office space. I moved out of that office space and I moved it into the new home that I just purchased. So the schedule's actually changing a little bit because I'm just at home now. I don't have to commute. I don't have to do anything. But typically it would be wake up, make sure the kiddos are taken care of, fed, anything like that. And then head downstairs and just start working, start figuring out what products I'm doing for the day, maybe organize some samples. I'll take a bunch of products and I'll line them up in a row and get them organized, turn on all the lights, get my mics ready, make sure everything's charged from the night before. And then I'll just kind of lock in. I'll have another phone set out to where I know kind of a list of things to do. And I'll look at that phone and look at the list and I'll just start taking products and just going, attacking it and kind of giving it my best there.
Yeah.
And then from there, what I'll do is maybe I'll take a break, go hang with the kiddos for a bit, and then go back down, continue some more filming, depending on what day it is, because I have different days set up for different things. But if it's a filming day, go back, do some more filming. And then from there, it's a lot of going through emails and organizing my Lark messages and everything that I have to respond to and stuff. And then I'll typically do a little bit of editing and send the rest of the videos to the editors and then just start scheduling posts.
Oh, wow. So you systematize it and you actually have editors?
Absolutely. Yeah.
Oh, wow. I didn't know that, actually.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Cool. So how does that work? Are they VAs or are they in person?
No, in person. So these are my people who I've,
trained,
known for a long time.
Yeah.
And they already kind of had a little bit of a background in video editing. And I wanted to put on my people rather than putting on a VA in the Philippines and stuff like that.
Yeah, yeah.
And so I pay them, a pretty good wage, I would say, for what we're doing. Yeah. They don't take on a large load. I still have to edit a decent amount myself, but it definitely takes a lot off of my shoulders. I think when you get to a certain point, you have to delegate. Like right now, I need a personal assistant.
Yeah.
100%. I need somebody with me every single day, unboxing samples, telling me what I'm going to do for the day. I need that. Yeah. I just haven't found that yet or figured that out. But 100%, when you get to a certain level, you need those things because you can't do it all. And for the longest time, I was trying to do it all and do everything. And I'm going to go through all my emails. I'm going to respond to all the messages. I'm going to unbox all the samples. I'm going to do all the it's just too much.
Yeah.
It comes to a point
overwhelming.
100%. So having those editors was the biggest weight off my shoulders ever because I can go in, I can go film, I can send the videos to the editors and then have them come back perfect and just be like, yes.
Yeah. I love that you talked about that, man, because I feel like any affiliate, if you're past I would say honestly 10K months, consistent 10K months, that is definitely one of the first things you need to do.
100%. Toss 10% to some editors.
Yeah, no, literally, because that's hours that you're saving, 2 to 3 hours a day that you're saving, and then you can spend that on more content. So it's definitely one of the best things that you can do. So I'm glad that you mentioned that. I actually didn't know you had editors. That's actually really cool. One thing I did want to touch on as well that I found really interesting is that a lot of creators, they mainly just focus on affiliate, but you've actually gone the route of landing a lot of retainer deals.
Yes.
And I think if I'm not mistaken, you did about let's say 100,000 in commissions and then also another 100,000 in just retainers in a single month.
Yes.
That's
a little bit more,
crazy,
a little
bro.
bit more than that, but yes,
a little bit more than that.
Yes. So shout out to Retainer Poppy. Always got to give him his shout out. Nice. So I was at an event in Miami and me and Christian, Retainer Poppy, we're just chatting it up. And he was telling me how he's doing 25K a month in retainers. And I was like, wait, what? I think I was doing maybe 10K at that time. And I was like, you're doing 25K in retainers? I didn't even know that was possible. I'm like, how do you handle that workload and that stress? That's crazy. And so after that trip, I went back home and I was like, maybe I need to just raise my prices up and just start replying to more emails. And right after that, my biggest client dropped me, the one that we were talking about earlier.
Yeah.
So they dropped me and it was devastating because there was my highest paying client and we were doing multiple videos a month and it was for a reason that was totally out of my control. And so right after that was the motivation that I was like, okay, forget this. If they're going to drop me, I'm going to go in and I'm going to have my biggest month ever with retainers. It was almost out of spite of them dropping me.
Yeah.
I just was reaching out to everybody. I raised my prices 2x. I was going on a crazy run. I was like, look, I'm charging $3,000 per video. And right at that time, the skincare started to really take off as well.
Yeah.
So all the skincare brands started to reach out.
Yeah.
And I think by
they have big money too.
Oh man, yes they do. And so I think by August, I was doing 60K in retainers. And then September came around. That one was like one of my biggest, like 90K months.
That's filthy.
And October was like 96,500 in just retainers.
Oh my God.
And then I did 100 something plus K in commissions. After that, November was the same exact thing, like 97K. December was like 97K again. Last month was 98,500. And this month I'm on track for another like 92.
Jeez, dude, that's so crazy. But like, I'm so happy for you because like, dude, that's amazing. And it's just like, the people that are watching this, they're getting so much sauce because it can literally double your income just by doing exactly what you're saying. So obviously I know you can't leak all the sauce, but like what are some tips to like land those massive retainers? Like, is it just having, higher rates? Is it, knowing which brands to talk to? Do you need like crazy high GMV? Like, what's the sauce for that?
Well, I think for sure you have to have the GMV to back it, right? You can't just go out and say I'm charging three grand per video and I've done 100K GMV in the last year. Like, it just doesn't work that way. So I think you have to have the GMV to back it, but you also have to know your worth. For the longest time, I was not charging 3,000 per video.
Yeah. And you're like one of the few people that can do that.
Yeah. And like I was charging like, I would do videos for friggin' nothing, $300 if we're doing it at scale, like whatever, who cares? I didn't realize that was an acceptable rate and that people would just say yes to that. People get this confused. I don't always land on 3,000. We negotiate. Sometimes I'll start at 4 because I want to land at 3, of course, but I don't want to scare clients away as well. But I think people forget that before TikTok Shop, as an influencer, you were able to charge a ton of money per post, right? Influencers were able to charge 15, 20, 40 grand per post.
That was the norm.
That was the norm. And with TikTok Shop for affiliate, I think a lot of brands got it in their mind. We're like, we'll give you 150 for a video.
Yeah.
No way. So I think having a big following helps. I think some of the brands still get googly eyes with 1 million followers. The GMV definitely helps. And then how to get the sauce, it sounds so redundant and stupid, but you just have to be diligent about your emails and going through and talking to them, building long-standing relationships with a ton of agencies and a ton of brands. Because when I talk about these retainers and I'm doing 90K per month, it's not just a bunch of different retainers. A lot of those are still the same exact long-standing partners who are just re-signing and re-signing retainers. Yeah. It's not that I'm going out and like going through emails for 10 hours a day. It's just that I'm building these relationships and have built these relationships that are very long standing and they just continue to come back.
And you're actually getting them results, which is like providing value.
Exactly. So I think that's another, exactly. Thank you for bringing that up. That's another big thing. You can't expect to get these retainers and then never talk to them again because you got 0 sales. You have to give it your best, especially when you're just starting out. Take every retainer super serious. Give it your absolute best videos because at the end of the day, you want to build that relationship with those brands and you want them to be long-standing and have that long-standing income for sure. Absolutely. And then eventually you'll start dropping brands, the ones that you took at lower rates that still want to work with you. You'll have to start saying no. As your GMV grows, you'll start having your price hike up. You'll start dropping the lower brands and make room for the guys with bigger budgets. And I think that's really just the sauce.
I love that, dude. Dude, that is awesome. Like, you guys definitely need to like clip that and just take so much from that because it is literally one of the easiest ways I feel like to just to double your income.
Oh,
like,
man.
This just inspired me to like go through my emails because, dude, I never do retainers, but like I seriously need to go through my email, start emailing other brands. Maybe I'll just get someone to do that. I know like Jacob, I don't know if you know Jacob, but he's on X and that's what he does like full time. Or maybe I'll just get someone to do that for me.
Even if you start small, like I tell people all the time, like when I first started with the retainers, my very first one was like 20 videos for $500. Like if you have to start small, you have to start small. That retainer that I have, that 20 videos for $500, I'm still with them to this day from 2023. Such a long standing. They've stood with me through the TikTok ban, like anything. They're like, look, we're standing by your side. And now we work on meta ads. We do everything else together. So the retainer's bigger, the money coming in from separate ads is much bigger. Like it's such a long-standing relationship that people have to realize that it doesn't always start at 3,000 per video. I know people are going to comment and be like, yeah, but he's Brandon, so he can charge that.
Yeah.
But we all started somewhere, right? Like I didn't start there.
I think it's very important, exactly like you said, like keep in mind, guys, build these relationships. That's the most important thing I feel like you can take away, like relationships in life with other affiliates, with brands, because like that's really what opens doors, like I just reached out to Brandon. I feel like we've been following each other for a while. We've seen each other's content and like it was kind of like a bold ask, but he was like, yeah, hell yeah, I'm down for the podcast. And like that's how you build those relationships. Obviously TikTok Shop becoming what it is today, it's become a behemoth. I think that it's going to eventually overtake Amazon. It already overtook eBay, but where do you actually see the future of TikTok Shop, man?
Man, it's going to be crazy. So I just got back from a trip in China and seeing their market is like looking at the future.
Oh,
it's
yeah.
actually wild. And so I think there's going to be a lot of different directions that happens with TikTok Shop. I think there's going to be a lot of other big players. I think Amazon's going to step in for sure. I think that, I don't think that, I know that Instagram Shop for Affiliates coming out very soon. Same with Facebook. So once these other platforms start to pick it up, it's going to be wild because we're really just at the base of this. Like this is social e-commerce is going to be, I mean, it's going to be to the next level. As far as TikTok Shop goes though, I think what we're going to see is a trend that's starting in China right now is that a lot of the brands are actually going to start taking over the GMV base versus the creators. So a lot of people are going to be going and purchasing from the brands directly rather than the creators, honestly, because they're seeing that in China right now. And I think as brands get more copying what China's been doing, as we know, that's what everybody wants to do because that market was insane. I think we're going to see a little bit of a shift there. And once all these other platforms catch on, I think a lot of other creators are just going to be on every platform across. And so I think in the coming years, there's going to be a bajillion creators. It might get a little oversaturated with some of the bigger brands for sure. But
there's always going to be room for good content creators.
100%. There will always be room for, it won't get to a point where you can't get in. Even if it doesn't mean that you're at the point where you're doing 100K a month in profit, but you're doing 10 or 20, there will always be room for that. Always, no matter what. But I think the big players and the people who are in right now will definitely always have success because we've already made the connections, made the relationships with the brands and stuff like that. But I do see more people being aware, especially watching this podcast right now or doing anything. And they're like, should I start TikTok Shop? Absolutely. Jump into the game. But that's going to flood the streets. And I think it's going to get pretty crazy.
Absolutely agreed, man. I think it's literally just the beginning. Like we were talking about earlier, you know, we see creators hitting all-time highs. So it's only going to continue to get bigger. Last question I have for you, my man. Brandon, what is the one lesson you want to leave the people with?
Man, if I have one lesson, it's just the biggest mistake I see. And I know it sounds so like you hear it all the time probably, but consistency. It's the biggest thing that I always see every small affiliate failing is where they post, they don't see results and they get like mad or even jealous that I'm doing these numbers. Why can't I hit those numbers? What the heck's going on? I'm doing everything he's doing, but it's not working. And then they just quit. And I think that you have to just push past all of those barriers to really reach those higher limits. So consistency is the key. Showing up every single day and trying new angles, studying, learning, always being a student of the game is super important. And another thing, I haven't really said this before as a part of advice, but make friends with other affiliates. That was one of the best things that I ever did. Going to all those TikTok events, I've met some of the best friends I've ever made in my entire life. We are all super connected. So if any of those guys goes off and makes something super crazy happen, I can take knowledge from them and understand what is working for them and use that knowledge in my future. So definitely always expand, talk to other affiliates, make friends, and stay consistent.
And I think that actually like feeds into the other. Like when you have that group of friends, dude, it's going to help you stay so much more consistent.
It's motivation.
Yeah. Like when I see my homies who do TikTok Shop, when I see you do TikTok Shop and I know I'm not like doing as much as I know I could be, it's like, dude, I got to get back into this. I got to stay consistent. Yes. So it's really so important to be surrounded by like-minded people. And yeah, number one thing, I fully agree is consistency.
And then the very last thing is like, don't compare yourself, right? Don't try to keep up with the Joneses. Jealousy is the thief of joy. Stop worrying about why Skateboard B did 200,000 this month and worry about just yourself in your lane, right? Sometimes I get caught up in it. I'm not going to lie. Seeing some of my friends where maybe I'm doing like a 60K month of commission and they're doing 150 and I'm like, what?
Yeah.
But you have to remember like everybody's on their own path and in their own lane. As long as you just keep doing you and staying consistent, you're always going to win no matter what.
Yeah, dude. And it's also so inspiring knowing that like you said 32, right?
Yeah,
you're 32. I mean, you look so much younger, but it's really inspiring because like sometimes myself, I get caught up in that and I have to realize like, dude, you've been at this for like 8 more years than me.
Yeah.
So it's like, I got to give myself some grace, but like it's very inspiring.
Yeah.
You know, and I hope to be at that one day, bro. So thank you so much for the podcast,
course,
Brandon.
bro.
It was fucking amazing. I know you guys got a lot of value out of it. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed. If you guys do want to check out 7-Figure Affiliate so you can start or scale as a TikTok Shop affiliate, that'll be the top link in the description. I will catch you in the next one.